What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Nintendo Landon. Man, it just feels so weird to say that. I know I haven't been posting as much as I wanted to on this channel, but as you can see, it's starting to ramp back up. And I think as we jump into the new year, I have a lot of topics that I just want to sit and rant about with you guys. And you guys seem to really love these videos. You guys have been showing so much support, and I just thank you for helping this grow just to even where it's at right now, close to 3,000 subs. Let's see if we can get close to 3,000 subs with today's video. But yeah, if you're new to the channel, once again, we just sit and rant and talk about whatever's on my mind, and I pretty much talk sometimes for multiple hours, so you can tune out and just listen as you're going to work or working out or using the bathroom. I mean, that's sometimes the best ideas for me. That's where the brain flows, is when you're having to sit down. TMI, I know. Anyways, yes, as you can tell, this video is not censored. It's not cut. Obviously it's family friendly. It's not censored. It's not cut or really edited at all. If there's any editing, I might break this one up just so that way I'm not talking in front of the mic for 3 hours, because I have a lot of stuff to unpack. But if you couldn't read the title, you should read the title. This video is about everything that I played this year, and this is something that I wanted to do for a while now. I have a full list where I'm going to sit and go through every game I played this year in 2025, whether it be old games, new games, whatever it is. If it's an old game, I'll let you know. If I've already played it, I'll let you know. If it's a completely new experience to me and it's an old game, I'll let you know. And if it's just a straight up new game, new experience, once again, I'll let you know before I jump into each one. Yeah, there's a lot of games here. I mean, a lot. And I got them listed for each month. I've definitely had months with more years with more games than this, but still, there's a lot to unpack here. So, I mean, I go from all over the place, from Nintendo stuff to PlayStation games to Fortnite. So, like, get ready. I'm going to go from month to month and just talk about what I played. And then what I'm also going to show you or tell you is what my favorite game of each month was. Now, to participate in my favorite game, it has to be a game that I've never played before. It doesn't have to be necessarily a new game this year, but it's my favorite game that I played each month. So that's how we're doing things. All right, enough yapping. Let's dive in. Alrighty, let's start off with January. I'm going to try to show gameplay based on any games that I've actually captured gameplay. I didn't capture gameplay for everything here, so if you end up seeing something that doesn't match with what's on screen, just, you'll live, I promise. But let's start off talking about Fortnite. So I like to put this at the beginning because I am very consistent with Fortnite. I won't spend too much time, but I pretty much play every Fortnite chapter, every Fortnite season. Not to the degree I used to. I think around chapter 5.5, 6 is where I kind of really just, I play enough of the season to understand the season. I get to like at least level 50 to 75. This is the chapter I kind of stopped buying battle passes and stuff here in chapter 6. But we obviously have Fortnite chapters 6, seasons 1 through 4, and the brand new chapter. Let's dive into it. So I actually really was not a huge fan of the map of Chapter 6. I didn't think it was anything super special. I thought it was fine, but the chapter just felt like, yet again, another iteration of what they did in Chapter 5. Just kind of the same art style, the same vibe, and it just, I don't know, didn't do much for me. The season themes were fine. For the most part, I will say, though, I've had some of the best performing seasons this chapter than any other chapter. I think Chapter 4, Season 1 was like one of my all-time favorites, and I performed so good with the gravity hammer. I mean, I had so many crazy clips. I don't have them anymore. It was on my Xbox, and they deleted all the clips. I was so mad. But I had some insane clips. If I have some clips of Fortnite Chapter 6, any of the seasons, which I should have. I should have some clips. If I do, I'll show them on screen as you're watching. But I really loved, I think it was Season 2 with the baseball bat. That was really cool. Hitting people with a bat was satisfying. It kind of reminded me of the one from Smash Brothers. I won so many. Like, I could not lose that season. The Star Wars season was awesome. As a huge Star Wars fan, I love the TIE Fighter and the X-Wing. And all the loot pool was just laser guns. That was so unique, and people hated it. It's just like, finally we get something super unique that changes the entire loot pool, and people hate it. It's just like, oh my gosh, you cannot win with people, man. But then we have it was like the superhero season I didn't care for. I didn't really care for, I'm missing one. I'm missing a season in there. I don't know what it is. Let me think real quick. One was that was the start. 2 was the heist, and then you had, oh, okay. Yeah, I think it was just the bug season was it. It's hard to remember because there's so many less seasons compared to other chapters. The bug season started off really high noted. I mean, it was like season 2 goated, the mini season goated, and then season 4 at the start was goated. And I was really enjoying Fortnite. Then they nerfed everything with the season. They got rid of the medallions that gave you cool mobility. They got rid of the mobility being the shockwave launchers and just doing, once again, shockwaves. I have like this bone to pick with Epic Games and shockwaves. It just feels like every single season is just shockwave meta. I don't know why they can't just come up with unique items like they did with the shockwave hammer and stuff. Or what was the other one? I can't remember. There was another one. The kinetic blade, something like that. Just some item that helps you bounce from point A to point B real quick. But it's always shockwave grenades, and it's just always only shockwave grenades. I'm so sick of them. But overall, I think Chapter 6 ended with a pretty cool live event. I wasn't a fan of people getting to try out Chapter 7 early and kind of like show it off. It just didn't feel special in that way. And Chapter 7, I will say so far, the map is definitely better than 5 and 6. I am not crazy about the game's mechanics, though. Like, there wasn't really any new mechanics or vehicles. The game looks clean. I still don't like this art style. I was much better with the vibrant art style. Ooh, I'm burpy. The vibrant art style of chapters 2, 3, and 4. 5 and 6 and 7 have these like really weird looking colors. It just tries to go for this realistic thing that just doesn't fit the theming of Fortnite. I'm not a fan. But overall, I think that it's okay. It's sweaty as ever still, man. I mean, you can't just like casually play Fortnite if you played it since like season 0. And let me tell you, like, yes, I've been playing Fortnite since season 0, since the beta demo in the beginning. So like I've been there day one. I've pretty much played every single season and stuff like that. So I know everything about Fortnite from beginning to end. So I've been really stuck into this game. In fact, it was the game that got me to purchase a console other than my Nintendo consoles. I'm not joking. It's the first non-Nintendo console since the PS2. So yeah, it's been a while. I ended up buying an Xbox Series S, and then I got the X, and now I have the PS5, and now I have a PC. So I've grown since then, but yeah. But overall, Fortnite's been cool. I don't really have much else to talk about it. I mean, I could rant about Fortnite in its own separate video. But let's move on to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Gosh, I love Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, man. This is a game that, you know, has just grown on me over time. It's always a game that I loved, but it easily grew to be my favorite Mario Kart game. And still to this day, as of right now, is my favorite Mario Kart game. The experience that I've had with it is just unmatched. I don't think anything's going to come close to it. This year, before obviously the Switch 2 came out in Mario Kart World, I continued to play a lot with my friends. And I remember like the last time we all played, right before the Switch 2 and Mario Kart World came out. Not all of them have Switch 2s yet, so like, yeah, we haven't really played Mario Kart World, but Mario Kart 8 Deluxe with my friends is a memory that I'm just never going to forget. Like, we would have our own little tournaments, and whoever would win would get like a crown, and like, you know, after 10 wins, you get a star, and we'd keep track of that, and of course, your boy always took home the stars, but like I loved playing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe with them. It's always a blast, and that game, like, you know, there wasn't much content, anything like the DLC pretty much ended by this time this year, but we definitely played some of that. Not going to dive too much into that. Uncharted 3. I played Uncharted 3 this year. Now, if you haven't been, you know, hearing me, I think I brought it up a couple times in live streams. I pretty much wanted to play the entire Uncharted franchise. I've never played them. And every year I play one of the games in January. I played 1, 2, and this year was 3, Drake's Deception. This one is probably tied with my favorite. I'm definitely between 1 and 3. I love the vibes of 1. I love the whole zombie thing. It was like creepy. I love the atmosphere. It's something that I really fell in love with. Uncharted 3 also had some crazy set pieces. Like, if I could just remember some of them, I think it's been a while. It's been since January, so please, hopefully this was the right game I'm talking about here. Because, yeah, Uncharted 2 was the train in the snow mountain with the Yetis, I believe. That was fine. There were some parts that was just way too frustrating. Uncharted 3 had some fantastic set pieces that I just will always remember. I know the one where they're driving the buggies and you have to like hop from buggy to buggy back to the truck to truck and stuff, and you know, in order to make your way forward. But the one that will stick with me is probably one of my favorite set pieces that I've seen in a game was the one at sea where I'm trying to, like I said, I can't really 100% remember how this happened. I want to say like you hurry up and like you're chasing these bad guys and you jump on these ships and you're shooting RPGs across the sea and like blow up their ships and your ship blows up and then you're like stranded at sea and they capture you and put you in like a storage container, but then you break free and you're like pretty much on this storage container in the middle of the ocean and there's a bunch of wreckage of ships everywhere. And you're trying to make your way to the big cruise ship or something like that, and a storm's coming. And you can see the waves start moving as you get further into the level. The storm starts rolling in. So you're crossing all this debris and stuff in the middle of the ocean, and you get to the giant cruise ship, and it's like Titanic reimagined. Like, the ship starts sinking, the water starts pouring in, you're shooting bad guys trying to get to the top of the ship. Just some really cool cinematic stuff. And then when you get to I can't remember the city, was it El Dorado? Something like that. And you have like all these like ancient tribal people trying to hunt you down and stuff. It has that vibe from the first game as well. And I think Uncharted 3 was definitely my favorite so far. But even with that said, I might make some people mad with this. I'd say the first game was around a 7. Second game for me, like a 6. Third game was like about 7.5 out of 10. I'm just not huge on this series. It's just maybe not for me. One of the things that I don't like having to sit in a crowded room full of tons of NPCs and just hide and blast them as they walk by. It gets old, it gets boring, especially when they do it over and over again. I'm more of a fan of just the quick on your feet, chasing down, platforming, the puzzle rooms, fun combat situations. Not just, oh, you're trapped in this giant square courtyard and you have to shoot everybody in the courtyard to progress. That just got very stale for me. It's not my thing. I know why. I can see why people love this series. And I know Uncharted 3, I think for a lot of people is, their least favorite. But to me, it's like Metroid Prime. Metroid Prime 3 is my favorite. And for a lot of people, they don't like 3. So, it's just me. But I give it around a 7.5 out of 10. Then we jumped over to Donkey Kong Country Returns HD, which re-released for Nintendo Switch. It came out on the Wii, re-released on the 3DS, comes out on the Switch. Great game. There's not much I can say to complain about it. It's a great game. It just doesn't hit the highs that Tropical Freeze did for me. It felt like it played it safe with some of the levels and the designs, and the bosses were all pretty average. Not too much going on with that. The music was a lot of remixes from the first Donkey Kong Country game. So I ended up giving it an 8 out of 10. It's probably what I would have gave it back on the Wii when I played it. I only played the Wii version. I never played the remake that came out on the 3DS, but playing this one on a Switch again was fun to revisit. It just didn't feel as good of a remaster. There were some things that just didn't look as good as it should have. I remember it just looked like it was like a rushed game that was just brought out. Voice crack, sorry. But yeah, I give it an 8 out of 10 to end January. I was so like, on the Donkey Kong train. I was like, you know what? Let's go through them all. So I went to Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. This is my favorite 2D platformer of all time and my favorite Donkey Kong game of all time. I still think I like it more than Bonanza, it's hard to do because Bonanza is great, but man, Tropical Freeze is a game that I can play nonstop. Like, I am not a fan of 2D Mario games that much as I am with Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong Country games are my babies, and Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze is just a masterpiece. This is probably my 5th time playing it, and I played it again in January. It's just perfect. I 100%ed it again. Just a beautiful game. The music is phenomenal. The boss battles are fun. The worlds are engaging. Each level has just like a unique design to it. Oh my gosh, dude, I can just go on and on and on about this game. But I love Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. I'm really hoping we get another third one in that new style, maybe with the Kremlings and King K. Rool and stuff. But like I said, I was on the Donkey Kong vibe because as we jump into February, I was playing Donkey Kong everything. I went to Donkey Kong Countries 1, 2, and 3 again, and I played all those on the Switch NSO app. I'll just go through these real quick. I played these games like 4 times before, and I decided to 100% all of them for the first time. So Donkey Kong Country 1, it's a classic. It's not my favorite in the series at all. Just the camera being zoomed in so much, and I don't know. It's a very quick game. You're going to beat it very, very quickly. It's cool. It's the first one. I get why it's so loved. I think it's definitely one of the better SNES games. It's one of my favorite SNES games, but it's fine. But Donkey Kong Country 2, where is that? But real quick, I'll go back. 100%ing Donkey Kong Country 1 was a freaking nightmare. Oh my gosh, if you've ever tried to do it, you have to find all the bonus rooms, which means running around like a chicken with your head cut off, holding barrels and just slamming yourself into walls and hoping that you find secret bonus rooms. Unbelievable. There's some that are just so crazy once you get in the bonus room. There's like extra stuff that you got to do. I'm not 100% sure, but there was one in like a machine area where you have to like let go of the barrel at the right second or something crazy. But I was like, dude, half of these I had to look up. There's one in the jungle area where you have to get Espresso the ostrich and run all the way back to the beginning because a path opens up that you can, now access with Espresso. And I'm just like, no one's finding these. So that was annoying. Donkey Kong Country 2 is just a classic. David Wise has just the best soundtrack of all time with that one outside of Tropical Freeze. Tropical Freeze, he hit its peak with Tropical Freeze. I genuinely don't think a composer can beat what he did in Tropical Freeze. But Donkey Kong Country 2 is such a great soundtrack, man. And the level design and everything, just peak. Diddy Kong, Dixie Kong gameplay, awesome. Always play with Dixie. Having that hair twirl is a lifesaver. 100%ing this game was also a pain. So many times you had to like go through walls or things were hidden off screen. Just almost near impossible finds for some of those collectibles. Thankfully, it helps you, I think it tracks it per level. So, but yeah, I had to look up a lot of them because so many of them are just so insanely difficult to find on your own. But Donkey Kong Country 3, this game gets so much hate. So much hate. I much rather prefer David Wise's soundtrack on the Game Boy compared to whoever composed the one. I think it was a woman composed the one. I forgot her name for the SNES version. But yeah, no, David Wise's soundtrack was like miles better. I'm sorry. But yeah, Donkey Kong Country 3 is really, really good. I think it's very heavily slept on. It is not as bad as people make it out to be. Kiddy Kong is not as bad as people make him out to be. The bosses are actually pretty fun in this one. The collectibles are reasonable. There's some that are hidden pretty daggone good, but for the most part, they're hidden in places that seem fair compared to the other games. I really like Donkey Kong Country 3. I like the world map. I just like the vibes of it. I'm a big fan. But then, after I got all the Donkey Kong Country out, and you know what? I'll give you guys a little ranking in case you want to know. My Donkey Kong Country ranking is Tropical Freeze, of course, at number 1. I think at number 2 is going to be a very close toss-up between 2 and 3. I don't know. I want to say probably 2. Okay, I'll do Tropical Freeze, then Donkey Kong Country 2, then Returns, then Donkey Kong Country 3, then Donkey Kong Country 1. It's probably what I would do. Maybe. Those could switch. I don't know. Street Fighter 6, I've had it. My friend wanted to play. I played a couple matches with him, and that was about it. It's one of those games that I just kind of picked up, messed around with my friends, and then never played again. I don't know. I'm not a big fighter person outside of Smash Bros. So, fighting games are just definitely not my thing. But finally, I made a video about this one. This is probably my highlight game of the year. Real quick, let me go back. January. The game of the month was Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. I didn't really have much else, Uncharted was about a 7.5. I gave Donkey Kong Country Returns an 8 out of 10. So DKC Returns wins January. February 100% goes to Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. This is around the time, very close to Xenoblade Chronicles X coming out with its Definitive Edition. I felt like this was the good time to start the series. It's something that I've been kind of not caring about for a while. I finally started it. I'm going to try to not make this too long because, dude, I could go on and on. I am so glad I tried this game. I have watched clips and stuff of the story before, and I always found it kind of interesting, but I never wanted to dive in because the gameplay looked too annoying. I was not a fan of it. I'm so glad I dove in. I'm not saying that I still love the gameplay. It got stale at times. It felt like I was doing the same thing, trying to land the... like I said, it's been so long. I'm trying to remember the names of the moves. What was the pink one? The pink move, which makes them kind of dizzy, and then you hit them with the green move to topple them, and then you can stun them with the yellow move. So, I know, I'm being so... if you play Xenoblade, you know what I'm talking about. But the combat gets very repetitive in that game. But, dude, the world... oh my gosh, the world building, the story, the music, the characters. It is a world that I just want to just be lost in again. I remember for 2 months, I was just so lost in this world and these characters. And it's just dude, they were... for the longest time, I said Skyward Sword was my favorite Nintendo story. And this blows Skyward Sword out of the freaking water. I love Shulk and these characters. I love the music. I love running around a giant sentient being the Bionis, which technically wasn't sentient the beginning of the game, but and then running around Mechanis, and learning about the story, how it just turned to be like this very simple story that evolved into like this complex, crazy madness of a story. Oh my gosh, like there was so many like crazy moments that just shocked me throughout the game. It doesn't leave you rambling and guessing what's happening until the very last second. It feeds you great story as you're playing and keeps you engaged. Each world, each chapter, the characters, oh my gosh. Such an experience, dude. Sartorial Marsh at night is a theme that I will never forget. I mean, the first time hearing that music, I sat and let it play on my TV for about 2 hours, literally as I was cooking, as I was cleaning. I listened to it too much, man. It is, what a game. I mean, seriously, what a game. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. Now, I only give it an 8.5 out of 10. And the reasoning behind that is because, like I said, the combat got stale pretty fast. And then, like, the extras with the side quests. Dude, the side quest was just too much. There's so many side quests. I mean, there's over, I think, like 400, maybe even more than that. So many side quests you'll be playing in this game. And it's just tedious, dude. There's so many, like, just... go to this person and talk to them. Done. You did the side quest. And the whole affinity chart thing I wasn't too big of a fan of. But, dude, when the game really when you focus on the game's story and just progressing the narrative and stuff, it's one of those games I don't see myself really spending too much time trying to get that 100% doing all the side quests. I did a lot of them, though. Let me be clear. I did a ginormous amount of side quests. I think just about all of them. I think there might be a handful left. I even did the extra post-game stuff with... oh my gosh, I can't even think of the name. What's her name? Oh my gosh. I can't think of her name. The girl from the Telethia people. I can't. I'm sorry. Like, I was so locked in. I knew the names of every character back in February, but like I said, it's been February. Like, Melia Antiqua, I think it was her name. Yeah, she was from the Hi Intia. Yes, it's coming back to me. But yeah, the post-game stuff was fine. But like the story, oh my gosh, the main game story is so good. I love those characters. I love that story. I'm glad I finally got out of my comfort zone and tried it. I'm going to be doing Fire Emblem this year, but man, I'm so ready. I plan on going to 2 next year, 3 the year after, and then X the year after. So it's going to be like the new Uncharted thing. I'll probably start around the summertime of next year with Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So I'm really excited for that one. That one's got me hype. But then we move on to March with Split Fiction. Split Fiction is one of the only games I played in March. At least that's worth jotting down on this list. Easy game of the month, 9 out of 10. Probably my best experience of the year up to this point in March. Split Fiction is awesome. If you ever played, I think it's... I don't know the company that makes it. It's that guy that just always embarrasses himself on the Game Awards. I forgot the name of his company. I think it's like Take-Two. It's not Take-Two Initiative, is it? Who made It Takes Two? So, like, once again, we're doing all this stuff live. Hazelight Studios. It's a Swedish game developer. Joseph Ferris is the producer of the game, and he snapped, dude. It Takes Two is one of my favorite games of all time. It's a co-op multiplayer game, and it just feels like a 3D adventure, a 3D platformer, like a 3D Mario, but with elements of so many other game types and game franchises and game genres. Done so well. I still think It Takes Two was my favorite, but Split Fiction does some crazy things. Like, it was a great time. If you've never played It Takes Two or Split Fiction, I highly recommend this one. Like, highly. I promise you. You can. I believe if you buy the game, you get a free code for somebody else to play on their console, or you can play split screen on one console. But if you have a family member, a friend, anyone who's even remotely interested in gaming, play with them. You guys will have a blast. It is such a good game. I played with my wife. It Takes Two, I played with my brother. I think my sister. I played with my wife, which was my, fiance at the time, or girlfriend at the time, one of them. And I even played with my best friend. Like, you could play this game over and over again. You'll play as one of the two characters, and you can replay it with the other character, and there's so many different roles that one character will have. You can just keep replaying the game over and over and over again and experiencing, cool parts of the game. Like, it's so good. Play Split Fiction. I'd say my only gripe was just like it only where It Takes Two will take you on a journey through wild variety of different things. Split Fiction focuses on 2 types of story narratives. The story wasn't that impressive to me, and it just really focuses heavily on just sci-fi and what is it, like Greek mythology? Not Greek mythology, but fantasy, sci-fi and fantasy, which does get overplayed for a while. But there's some things that you won't expect. Like, you'll play as a freaking hot dog. I'm not kidding. Play the game. You'll see what I'm talking about. Split Fiction, awesome game. 9 out of 10. Game of March. Let's move on to April, and then I'll kind of like just group January through April together. April, I didn't have really any new games I've never played before. So I didn't really have a game of April. So I started off playing Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. This is where I decided to play through the original trilogy before Prime 4. I played Prime 1 Remaster when that came out, and then, that followed up with Prime 2 Echoes here in April of 2025. Prime 2 Echoes revisiting just kind of reinforced, I just not a big fan of Echoes. I have never really liked it, and revisiting it was the same way. I don't know. I love the boss battles. The theming feels creepy and weird, and I like that, but it kind of falls flat with just getting, like, so many times I was just getting lost. I had no clue what they wanted me to do, which some people love. I hate just running around completely lost with absolutely no clue what to do. That's just not my thing. And I know some people are going to get really mad and be like, you don't get it. You don't get it. Okay, I don't get it. It's just not my thing. I think Prime 3 is my favorite, and then Prime 1, and then Prime 2. Yeah, I'm different with that. I know many people will be like, what? But yeah, Prime 2 was cool. It was fun to revisit, but it was giving me a headache. Rhythm Heaven Mega Mix was a game I replayed. I was kind of on the Rhythm Heaven mindset thing too, ever since they announced Rhythm Heaven Groove coming out sometime in 2026. I wanted to replay through Mega Mix, and I did some other things with Rhythm Heaven you'll find out here in May. But yeah, Mega Mix is kind of like this big collection on 3DS of like the Fever games, the Game Boy Advance games that released only in Japan, which once again I'll talk about here in a second, and some other stuff there. But I really did enjoy Rhythm Heaven Mega Mix. It's just I'm really excited for the new one. Here's one that's gonna like make people say, "What the heck?" Like, as you can tell, like I really was getting into my 3DS games in April. Rusty's Real Deal Baseball. This is a game that I was a little late to the game with. I got it right before the online store closed. This game is so much fun. Dude, I really hope you guys were able to pick this one up before the 3DS store closed. Man, it's such an underrated game. I know some people have talked about it in the past, but it is so much fun. And maybe it's because I'm a baseball fan, but it's just like, it's what I want in the next Mario Baseball. Just tons of little mini games, from batting to fielding to pitching, to catching to throwing to balancing a ball on your bat to customizing your own bat. I love this. And there's a cool gimmick where I had to kind of rush through the game because it was a couple days before the eShop closed. And what happens is when you're playing the game, you can go to Rusty's shop and you can bargain for one of his mini games that you have to pay real currency for. So you'll go into a shop and you'll have like 10 mini games, and each mini game will have a different price. Like, it'll be like around, like the highest you'll pay is $4. The lowest you'll pay is almost like 25 cents or something if you can haggle him down. Where you could pretty much, you'll go through a story, learn about his wife and his family, his kid, and like you'll talk him down in price. And if you mess up, he'll keep the price the same or raise it. But you'll always have a chance to lower the price some more, where you can get it pretty cheap. And it's actually a really unique concept. And if you do everything right, you only have to pay 25 cents per game, and there's 10 games. So you're not spending a lot of money on this game at all. I mean, what is that? Like under $3, if my math is correct. Yeah. So yeah, $2.50 technically you can get away with, but I'm probably wrong on the pricing. It's something like that though. But Rusty's Real Deal Baseball, I've been played it, but I wanted to revisit again and play through some more of those missions. Dude, the music, everything, it's got that Nintendo charm. There's something about that game that has that classic Nintendo charm. If you guys know what I'm talking about and you played Rusty's Real Deal Baseball, oh my gosh, I love that game. Once again, maybe it's because I grew up playing baseball or something, but it just has baseball everything. It bleeds baseball. Like, the only thing it does not have is a real baseball game you can play. Everything else, everything you could practice in baseball is here. And it's just like tons of fun mini games. It's something that you can relax, have fun with, but also try to 100% complete, getting gold on all the missions. And there are a lot, and I mean a lot of missions. That's one of the most worth it eShop titles I've ever purchased in my life. I love that. And like Fluidity back on the Wii. I need to get the Wii out and play that. I have a Fluidity Spin Cycle on the 3DS, so I got to play that as well. but that's for 2026 maybe. I also jumped back into Mario Golf World Tour. This is my favorite Mario Golf game. I love World Tour. I think, the mini games are so much fun. The courses are themed after Mario characters. There's like a Yoshi's Woolly World themed one and a Donkey Kong one, a Mario Galaxy Space one. I love that. I'm still trying to fully complete the game. There's a couple of missions that I just cannot beat. There's a couple coin missions, I think moon coin missions that I got to do. And then there's one mission where in the story mode with your Mii character, you have to get a birdie or better on a par 3 course of 18 holes on every hole, which means you have to pretty much get a tee shot and a putt. That's all you get. If you shoot over birdie, over birdie, you get a par. You got to restart. So like I still to this day have not done that. I tried it a little bit more, couldn't do it. I kind of gave up for now. Maybe I'll try it a little bit each year, but that's something I'm still trying to beat to this day. If you guys, once again, know what I'm talking about, has anyone out there been able to beat that birdie challenge? It's so difficult. You're like up on these sky islands and there's like super heavy wind at night. It is just the real deal. I've not been able to do it. And I'm afraid if I get to like hole 16 or 17, my hands are going to be shaking. I'm going to be sweating. I'm going to choke on like the last hole or something. I don't even want to think about that. But yeah. Then we hop into the month of May, and we have Rhythm Heaven on the DS. This is the first Rhythm Heaven game I ever played, and I think the first one released here in the States. Man, I played this when I was younger, and I revisited it again and played it on my DS, and I even 100%ed it again, got all perfects just so I could feel something again. I don't know. It was a pain. Please, I do not recommend you do this. But any of the Rhythm Heaven games, just trying to 100% can be a pain. So, but yes, I got all perfects. It was fun to revisit those classic games, and it was just kind of a blast of the past. Something else I had to go back to, I don't know why, the last couple months, I think this was getting up to the Switch 2. I was kind of just like enjoying some old games again, some classics. Like I brought out Punch-Out on the Wii. My boy Little Mac, I had to bring that one out. I cannot believe we haven't gotten another Punch-Out since the Wii. But yeah, I just kind of went through some of the fighters and played around with it and let my wife play around with Punch-Out as well. Had some fun with that. And then I was sitting there and I realized, dude, I went back to Rhythm Heaven again. And I was like, dude, I've never played the original Rhythm Heaven, I think it's called Tengoku, which is the first Rhythm Heaven ever that came out on the Game Boy, but it only came out in Japan. So the only thing I could do was play a ROM. I tried the ROM on an emulator, the sync, it was off, it didn't feel right. So I ordered a cartridge online, which pretty much had a ROM built into it that I could just put into my Game Boy and play it on my Game Boy, and it worked fine. In fact, it worked really well until I finally 100%ed the entire game. I turned it on the next day to play some of the games just for fun, and the whole game's memory reset. I guess in some of those cartridges, the memory resets, which sucks. Like bad. I guess it's on a battery or something, and it'll reset. So yeah, nothing's saved. Yeah, I got to play it all over again. I'm not doing that ever again though. But it was just cool to finally experience those very first beginning stages and levels for Rhythm Heaven. And I didn't know what they were saying or what it was reading or saying to me, but I was having fun playing through those. I ended up giving the game an 8 out of 10. It's the first time I ever played it, so I ranked it around an 8 out of 10 for Rhythm Heaven on the GBA, the Japanese ROM that I played. Pretty good, pretty good. Something else I played again was Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition. I played this non-stop, man. I've been playing since it's released. So I played the original on the Wii U, and I also got the 3DS version, but then of course they want to screw me over and re-release everything in one big pack with even more content. So I had to replay through the whole thing again. Trying to 100% it is just a chore. And of course, on top of that, they want to release Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity and now Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. So I try to hurry up and dive into this before something else happened. Of course, it did with Imprisonment. But every year I try to play Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition, at least 2 good chunks. 2 separate good chunks, one at the beginning of the year, one at the end of the year. I started a little bit late here in May, but just taking out some more of the world maps and stuff, trying to clear those up. But obviously, I just I don't feel like doing it. And of course, when that Nintendo Direct hit, I think it was the same month, it kind of just killed my vibe to just continue that game right now. So that one's back on the back burner again. I got to finish Age of Imprisonment right now. I'd say I finished the main story and a good chunk of the missions, but there's still a lot left. So I'm about to get back into that here soon. But then June rolls around, and June is the start of the Switch 2 era. Switch 2 comes out and releases Mario Kart World. Oh boy, you guys know about this game. I ended up giving the game a 7 out of 10. And there's not much for me to rant about here. You guys know, everybody that lives and breathes air and lives under the sun knows how I felt about Mario Kart World. It was a disappointing title, to say the least. I loved my time with it. I had some really good memories. The first boot up and playing it, as soon as I unpacked it, it's a beautiful looking game. The soundtrack is phenomenal. There's some highs. The open world can be fun with some of those P-Switch missions, and I had fun with those. But man, I was just so let down after I've done pretty much everything in the open world. I was just kind of like, there's nothing left in this thing. I don't feel like going online. I don't feel like driving in straight lines. I don't feel rewarded. I feel like it's just a big Smash Brothers battle with 24 racers. Everybody's just blasting each other every 3 seconds. Blue shells are more of a nuisance than they've ever been. Oh gosh, I just could go on and on and on with the straightaways on the intermissions. It's just, it felt like it was missing content. The battle mode sucked. It needed some extra modes. The open world was just there for some P-Switch missions and nothing else. It could have definitely used a story mode. Man, this was just like an upsetting one for me. It has to be my game of the month, though, because there was really nothing else that came out in June that I played. I put in a lot of hours, a lot of time, a lot of videos I worked on with that game. And that game, it did its stuff. It definitely entertained me, and it still will be a memory in my head, but it just wasn't one of those games that I was really hoping for. After over 11 years since Mario Kart 8, I was really hoping for something that would completely change the game, something that would keep me interested for the next 7 to 8 years, whenever the next Mario Kart's going to be. And it's already lost my interest, and we're still in the same year. It lost my interest month 2 or 3, so yeah, it stinks. I really wish that wasn't the case. But thankfully, July comes around and saves everything. July comes around and drops the Donkey Kong Bonanza game. Oh, I love Donkey Kong Bonanza. It was the complete opposite experience. Donkey Kong Bonanza was just everything I could have asked for. I ended up giving the game about a 9.5 out of 10. The only reason being some of those layers got kind of repetitive, just digging around aimlessly, but I mean, dude, Donkey Kong Bonanza is just endless fun. You could just turn your brain off and just play the game and have fun. Oh my gosh, yeah, I just had a blast, dude. It was just everything I could have asked for a 3D Donkey Kong right now. And that ending was just phenomenal. Oh, I know why I gave it a 9.5 out of 10. The boss battles were a huge letdown. I need to make a separate video about this on my main channel, but Nintendo's boss battles just suck right now. I just feel like every game with Mario Wonder and even with Tears of the Kingdom, like their boss battles just stink. There's no unique, even Metroid Prime 4, I felt this way a lot of the game. They just don't feel like they have unique ways to take them down or unique concepts, and I was just really let down by the boss battles in Bonanza. But dude, the ending of the game alone was enough to make me say, this game that will stick with me for the rest of my life. That's something that I don't think Nintendo can ever recreate and redo ever again. What a freaking spectacular ending to that game. Like, genuinely, what a spectacular ending. Look, how long has it been now? Nintendo's pretty much been shown. I think Nintendo officially showed them off, did they? I don't care. I'm spoiling the end. Who cares? The game's been out long enough. King K. Rool's return was like, it was beautifully crafted. Beautifully crafted, and I loved every little thing about it. Absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say besides it's just phenomenal. Just absolutely phenomenal. Yeah. I wanted a big 3D Mario game for the Switch 2, but having a new 3D Donkey Kong was just, it was the next best thing. I still wanted Mario, but man, Donkey Kong Bonanza just, having the feast layer, I've always wanted kind of like a carnival circus world to just freely explore, and they gave it, and they really came through with it. It's awesome, dude. It's so awesome. I was so happy to drop down into the feast layer and see that. Because I was seeing, I think concept art came out right before the game came out, and it showed the feast layer. And I was thinking to myself, man, I really am praying that this is actually in the game. Oh, I was praying, and it actually was, and I was so happy. I'm having urges to go back and replay Donkey Kong Bonanza already, and that's already a really good sign that it was a really good game, because I haven't really had that with any of the titles this year. I really want to go back and play through Donkey Kong Bonanza. I do. But yeah, what a game. That was a great experience. Man, the music, the Heart of Gold song that, you know, Pauline sings, just so good. So good. Such a good game. Then we move on to, this one's going to be so weird for a lot of people. GTA 5. You heard me right. GTA 5, Grand Theft Auto 5. I played this one with my wife. This is going to be so weird. So, we normally don't play games like this growing up as Christians, and with a huge faith in Jesus. And, you know, we really don't, you know, play anything with, you know, demonic entities or stuff like that, or anything with, you know, stuff that just messes with our spirit. It's kind of just, you know, up to our own convictions, and that's how it is for a lot of people. It's like your own convictions. You play what you feel like you can play, but we stay away from a lot of stuff, and that's probably why, like, you won't be hearing certain things. But GTA 5, it was like this extreme sale. You get the game for like $5, $10, something like that, and we got it, and we just wanted to have a game where we had like a giant open world and we could do whatever we want. And of course, we had fun, like running people over, just being menaces in the city and just driving around, trying to run away from the cops and stuff. But we got our kind of fix out after a while. You know, we try to get through the story. I'd say we got around half of the story. I know a lot of people are going to say, like, oh, you're just so soft. Like, what is wrong with you? We got around halfway through the story. This is me being honest with you guys. Got around halfway through the story, and we just couldn't do it anymore. It's a bad game. I mean, like, it is so not family friendly, and I'm not, obviously this is a family friendly channel as well. I'm not going to dive into the stuff there, but just a lot of crude humor, inappropriate talk, tons of swearing, really inappropriate things. I mean, things that, like, I cannot believe are in a video game. I've never played a Grand Theft Auto game, so I thought I'd give this one a try. I played a little bit of Grand Theft Auto 5 over my friend's house when we were younger without my parents knowing. That's how long this game's been out, dude. But yeah, ultimately we were just like, you know, the story just kept going too. We had some really good laughs and LOL moments, but the story it's just an LOL moments. That sounded disgusting. But yeah, the story just kept on going. I got so tired of it, and I you know, eventually just said, no, you know what, I'm done. You know, enough's enough. And she was kind of the same way, like, yeah, enough's enough. This is just getting out of hand and crazy. And I think we was also just kind of getting bored. We've seen everything the game had to offer and played around in that world as much as we could. And I think we were just done with it. It was just kind of those, like, you know, we put in a good amount of hours. Like, we probably played around 20 to 30 hours just messing around in the game. But we very quickly just got bored and just wanted to mess around. We didn't even really want to play the story mode. We wanted to just play around in the open world, steal some cars, you know, do some tricks and jump off mountains and just do some crazy stuff. But I'd say overall we definitely had a good time and some fun laughs with that game for sure with her. I remember we have this little dog named Kirby. You guys probably seen him in some live streams. I made her mad because there was a woman walking down the street with her dog, and it looked very similar to Kirby. This is dark. I'm sorry. It looked very similar to Kirby, and I ran the dog over on the game, and I just look over. She's got this, like, look on her face, mouth, jaw dropped, like, what did you just do? I did no, and the dog made like a little, like, she's so mad. It was so funny. But she was not having it, dude. She was so mad. She was like, why did you do that? Like, what are you trying to do? You want to run over our son? I was like, no, I'm just messing around. I'm playing. That game is crazy, though. Trevor is just freaking insane. Yeah. That's a game we just, like, you know what? That's enough. Enough's enough. We've had our fun with it. Let's move on. But yeah, do not play that game if you are family friendly. Crazy game. But obviously for the month of July, the game of the month was 100% Donkey Kong Bonanza. I mean, that's, you know, spoiler alert, after playing everything this year, that is my game of the year. Donkey Kong Bonanza was peak. There's only one other game that got super duper close. Actually, two other games that got super close, and we'll talk about those as we go down this list. But yeah, Donkey Kong Bonanza was just it, man. That's definitely the game probably of the year for me. As I look back at everything, like, it's the highest review, 9.5. There's two other 9s, like I said, we'll talk about here soon, but Donkey Kong Bonanza, just a peak game, man. All right, in August, we had Kirby and the Forgotten Land. It had its Star-Crossed World DLC. I ended up giving it a 7 out of 10. Now, the original Kirby and the Forgotten Land was like a 9.5 for me. It was so good. It's one of my favorite 3D platformers ever. It's definitely my favorite Kirby game, one of my favorite games on the Switch, but the Star-Crossed World DLC didn't add too much. It took some existing levels and kind of remade them, and you know, they were fine. They were really well-designed levels, but it just was like an extra hour and a half to 2 hours of content. The new final boss was pretty much just the same final boss rehashed. So like it wasn't a whole lot of new stuff. It was just a way to expand the game and give it a reason for a price tag and, you know, to slap it on the Switch 2, which is fine. I'm just like, okay, I'm still waiting on the next 3D Kirby game. That was cool and everything. It was a good excuse to go back to Forgotten Land, but it wasn't anything super special, and it just kind of felt like a, you know, just a reason to go back to the game, if anything. Like, if anything, I just kind of wanted to go back and replay the game compared to just playing a couple additional levels. But it was cool to at least have some of those additional levels, I guess. The next game is something that I've been hearing about for so long. It's something that finally I decided to jump into, Hollow Knight. I have been hearing about Hollow Knight like crazy, and obviously with Silk Song on the horizon, well, at that time, it's already out now, but at that time I was like, you know what, let me jump into it the month before Silk Song and see if I can beat this game and see how I feel about it. I was very iffy with it at first. It is so confusing, dude. I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off, not knowing where the heck I was going. I was getting frustrated, just kind of not really having fun until about 3 to 4 hours in, it finally just clicked. Everything just kind of fell in the line, and I knew exactly what I was supposed to be doing, where I was supposed to go, just getting into this flow state, really understanding how the map works and everything. It just took me a while to understand, you know, the mechanics and everything. But once I did that, I really just dove into this game head first, and I was having a blast with it. So much so, I pretty much fully 100% of the game. The only thing I have not done is the final Pantheon 5 of the Boss Rush DLC. It's the last thing I'm on. I keep getting stuck on, I forget what the name of the boss was now. It's been so long, but it's towards the end of the Pantheon. It's one of those like soul bosses. It's like all these floating platforms, and you have to like fight him. He's got like this shield going around him that you have to hit. I forgot his name. It's been so long, but oh my gosh, I could not stand that boss battle. It just kept killing my runs. Him and Zote. Oh gosh, Zote is just, he just has such irregular attack patterns. He'll walk into you and deal damage to you. But no, I truly did enjoy playing through Hollow Knight in that boss rush mode. It's one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. And it actually set me up for Silk Song, which we'll get into next. But Hollow Knight was just a fun experience for me. It wasn't anything crazy. I gave it about a 7.5 out of 10. Nothing really stood out too much to me compared to its sequel. I really liked Silk Song way more. But then we played Switch 2 Welcome Tour. I was a little late to this one. I didn't want to get it at first. It's only like $20. I finally played it, and believe it or not, I really didn't think it was as bad as what I thought it was going to be. I actually learned a lot of things. It taught me about my Switch 2. It should have still been a free game. Oh, no. Scratch that. Scratch that completely. I think it was only $10. I think it was $10, not $20. $10. But still, it should have been free. But yeah, I learned a lot of things about game development and console development and the process of building a console and what goes into it. And it was pretty interesting to see just how much goes into a new console and the controllers and stuff. And I was having a good time. The mini games were actually really fun, trying to compete in them and get gold medals in all the mini games. I genuinely enjoyed my experience. I really don't have many complaints. I mean, I still only gave it like a 7 out of 10. I mean, it's just a little thing to teach you about your console. But it's a lot better than what people give it credit for. Honestly, I think it was better than Dragon Drive, which is my next game. I gave Dragon Drive a 5 out of 10. I had just no fun playing Dragon Drive. I don't know. It just did not sit right with me. You know, I normally buy every Nintendo game, and maybe this is my fault because I only really played the demo of this game, but I played a lot of the demo. And from what I can see and what I've heard, like the main game is the same thing as the demo for the most part, outside of some extra little mini games you get. It's just lifeless. It's just like there's one court, just bland characters. It's like I always compare it to ARMS if it was just bland and lifeless, like no unique characters, no unique stadiums or courts, no customization, no side modes, no extra stuff. Like it just felt like it was there just because Nintendo wanted to make an extra $20, or is it $30? I don't know. How much was Dragon Drive? Look, we're doing this stuff live. Drag times drive. I know you guys are probably like, dude, just pause. And once again, we $20. I'm yapping here. We don't pause anything. We just go off. We just go off the beat and we talk. $20 for drag and drive, which is just $19 more than I should have ever had to pay for it, even though I didn't pay for it. Drag and drive is not fun. I just could not have fun with the game. No one passed the ball. Everybody was just taking the ball, rolling all the way down the court, throwing up a layup or dunking. It was boring. It was boring. It was one of the first Nintendo games in a very long time where I just could not keep playing it. I was so bored. I was like, yeah, I will not be returning to this game, which is abnormal for me. But for August, my game of the month was Hollow Knight at a 7.5 out of 10. So not a lot of stuff going on with Nintendo in August. But then September rolls around and comes out with Hollow Knight Silk Song from the start. Silk Song was beautiful. Oh my gosh, I gave the game a 9 out of 10. I truly loved my experience with this game. It felt like I knew a lot more what I was doing. Maybe playing the first game helped me, but it felt like it was less kind of just throwing you in this world trying to figure out what the heck you're supposed to do. It gave me, clear missions, clear objectives. I felt the combat was just a huge step up. There was so much unique fluidity with the combat with Hornet compared to the Knight. I loved Hollow Knight Silk Song. A lot of people kept saying how difficult it was. It was pretty hard, but I never in any instant felt this is just unfair. I never felt like I seen a lot of reviews saying that it was so hard that they just quit playing because of the boss runbacks and stuff. I will say some of the walkbacks with some of the bosses is insane. Like the one in the marsh area, going all the way back to the big frog boss. I forgot the name of them. But yeah, that one's insane. That one's crazy. But for the most part, like I said, there's definitely some difficult bosses, some difficult sections and segments in the game. But I didn't think it was anything too crazy. It was hard, don't get me wrong, but it was good difficulty. I really enjoyed it. And this game, to me, had some better soundtracks. Some of the music pieces here were just, dude, I'm telling you right now, the, what's the name of the, Coral Chambers, the big palace at the top of the entire map where you go to end the game, at least for the main story. Dude, Coral Chambers is one of the best music pieces I've heard in a video game in years. I'm talking since Tropical Freeze on the Wii U back in 14, 15. Oh my gosh, it brought me to pure emotion, getting goosebumps all over my body. I think that one and Heart of Gold from Donkey Kong Bonanza are my music pieces of the year. Just beautiful. In fact, I loved it so much, I learned how to play Coral Chambers on the piano. Yes, in case you maybe didn't know, I pretty much taught myself how to play the piano, and I just randomly taught myself how to play Coral Chambers. So maybe if I have time, I'll record a segment and put it in here. If not, maybe you'll see it another time. We'll see. But yeah, Dude, I loved Silk Song. I genuinely fell in love with this game. This was a huge highlight for me. Of course, it was highly anticipated, and I'm very glad I played Hollow Knight. I may have not liked Hollow Knight that much, but I'm glad I did for Silk Song because Silk Song was great. DLC is coming out sometime in 2026, so I'm excited about that. But then I moved on to Garfield Kart 2. This was through a ad integration I did with the company behind the Garfield Kart series. I didn't even know there was a one, to be honest. It's a very basic built game. I gave it like a 4 out of 10. It's nothing special. It's made for children. There's a handful of tracks. There's a handful of characters, and I really just did it for the ad integration. And also, I thought it would be cool to see because it's just like a year full of kart racers, especially, with Mario Kart World, Sonic Racing. I was like, why not give it a shot? Kirby Air Riders is coming up too. It wasn't the greatest, but then we played Kirby's Epic Yarn. We, meaning me and my wife, we normally play through some games together. We played through the first couple of worlds and haven't really revisited it for some reason. I think she said it was a little too childish, which she likes kind of the kiddie games like the Yoshis and Kirby's, but I think this one was just too much for her. Like, you can't die. There's no real consequence. She wasn't really feeling it. I love the game. It is babyish. Like, it is made for children, but I love the music. It's one of the best soundtracks Nintendo's ever made. It's also just an incredibly charming game. It's just, you got to play it for what it is. You got to look at it as like a Yoshi game or Princess Peach Showtime type of game. But yeah, then Sonic Racing Cross Worlds came out. This was actually another provided copy. I did my first whole video review ad placement with Sega, which is super cool for me. Like, I've never worked with Sega before. They asked me to do a dedicated video for what was it? A Yakuza game remake that came out, I think, a year ago or maybe the beginning of this year. I forget when it was. I just said, no, that's not my type of game. I didn't want to make a whole video even for money for that. But for Sonic, heck yeah. If you guys didn't know, I grew up with every Sonic. Like, Sonic and Mario were like my characters. Like, I played everything Sonic and Mario. So, when Sega hit me up for that, I was so excited. And I'm not just saying this because they paid me, I promise. Sonic Racing Cross Worlds was a little bit more fun than Mario Kart World, in my opinion. I gave Mario Kart a 7. I gave Sonic Racing Cross Worlds an 8. This was a very impressive bundle of tracks, of characters, of extreme gear, cars, lots of modes that you can play, online tournaments, events, and stuff. Really good music, voice acting. They did a really good job with this game. I was pleasantly surprised. I don't think it's the best racing game ever. There's still some issues with items being really overpowered. Just a really overcomplicated kind of item set thing that you can do where you can set your own items and your own little kit. I'm not, that's just too much for me for a simple kart racer. I just want to jump in, pick a character, pick a kart, and go. So I wasn't a big fan of that. I love the cross-world stuff, seeing all these references to past games like Chun-Nan, Dragon Road from Unleashed. It was so awesome to see that. Even like Lost World, that one weird zone with the Pac-Man creature. I was like, dude, that's a crazy callback. I feel like I'm the only one that played Lost World and knows what this is. But that was really cool. But to end this month was one of the greatest gaming memories I'm going to ever have in my life. Pac-Man World 2 is one of the first games I've ever played growing up. I've ranted about this enough. I've made multiple videos on my main channel about this. Obviously, when Pac-Man World 2 repack was announced this year, I lost my mind. I think I lost my voice for a day. I could not believe it. I was brought to tears. It was one of the greatest things I could have ever asked for. And, Bandai Namco, thank you still to this day. Thank you so much for that. Oh my gosh, like I can't believe it's real. So to celebrate, I actually went back and played Pac-Man World 2 again for the 100th time on my PS2. Just right before Pac-Man World 2 repack came out, so I can see the differences. And man, Pac-Man World 2 repack, I gave a 9 out of 10. It was a great experience, dude. It is a beautiful remake. Each level is beautifully recrafted. Staying the same to its original source material, but changing some of the levels for the better. There's a lot of levels, as much as I love the original game, that just don't make sense. It's either really bad lighting, really horrible level design, blasting off to some random platform in the dark or something, or just stuff that didn't really make sense, or really overcomplicated level design. And they really fixed a lot of this. And the boss battles, they didn't have to do this. They did. I mean, I'm super glad they did, because the bosses in the original game are very repetitive outside the first one. With Clyde, the rest are literally just the same robot ghost. So I'm so glad they actually decided to remake all the boss battles. They had post-game content with extra hard levels. They had time trials for us to do again. They really snapped, man. I was so happy. The only thing that is going to be so picky, Pack Attack. You go to the arcade. For some reason, Pack Attack, it was like a different regional version or something. It was a different version that didn't have the same music as the one from Pac-Man World 2. That you know what I'm talking about? Like, yeah, that's my song. And I turned it on ready to hear it. I was like, what the heck is this theme? I was like, this ain't it. Once again, extremely like there's probably one person in this entire video that's going to know what I'm talking about. But the Pack Attack theme song wasn't the one I was wanting from the original Pac-Man World 2. I was a little upset by that. Also, you don't have Miss Pac-Man here because the whole legal rights with Miss Pac-Man. She's Pac-Mom now. But I love Pac-Man World 2 Repack. It was a pleasant surprise, and they did an absolutely great job. I'm hoping that sales were great. They're already putting out, would we want a new Pac-Man World game eventually, or like a Pac-Man World 3 Repack? I don't know about Pac-Man World 3 Repack. I mean, I played that game a lot, but it's just not the same as the first two. So I'm still just so blessed to be able to play Pac-Man World 2 in a remake form in 2025. I genuinely don't think I have any other game wishes outside of maybe like Kid Icarus Uprising returning or something. But besides that, like I am a perfectly fed boy with games. That was a great way to end September and the second half of this year. But then we move into October, and we have Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. Little iffy on this one. I was so glad to have 2 again and finally be able to play Mario Galaxy 2 on modern hardware instead of pulling out the Wii to play it. But I'm like, Mario Galaxy 1 again, we just had the Mario 3D All-Star Collection pack. It just kind of felt like a cheap cash grab to make you buy Galaxy 1 again to get 2. Yes, you could buy digital, but if you're a physical copy collector like me, you're kind of forced into paying a full price for those games, which they charged way too much for. It's ridiculous. I just like, what are we doing? What was it, like $60, I think? Mario Galaxy 1 plus 2 price. I think it was $60. Yeah, no. I was wrong. $70. $40 digitally each. Crazy. It's just freaking crazy. Like, they're just trying to get up on us, man. That's just ridiculous. But yeah, it's Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. I was glad to replay those games again, specifically Galaxy 2. But you know what? As I played these games again, I kind of came to the conclusions where they are still peak Mario platformers, but they're just nothing compared to 64, Sunshine, and Odyssey to me. Even 3D World, I'm not joking. I think it's just something with just the pacing is slow. Mario doesn't have that fluid, quick moveset. It's a really slow get-through game. You go into a level that's extremely linear. You move very slowly. You do these dedicated sequences in each level. Once you play the game, you know how each level sequence is going to go. It's not like you can speedrun, really. I mean, it doesn't feel really good to speedrun. It's a different style of game. It's just a slower, chunkier feeling Mario compared to something like Odyssey. It made me actually want to go back and play Odyssey again. So, yeah, I love the Galaxy games, but they're definitely not my favorite of the 3D Mario bunch. Sunshine and Odyssey are still neck and neck up there. And yeah, it's kind of made me want to go back and play those games. Pokemon Legends ZA, this is my second completed Pokemon game ever, which is crazy, I know. I played Pokemon Sword and Shield when it originally released. I really like the game. I know people hate it. I know that's a crazy first Pokemon game to jump into. I completed the decks and everything. I didn't play the DLC, but I pretty much fully completed that game. Pokemon Legends ZA, it was cool. 7 out of 10. I don't really have anything super important to say. There's some good music pieces, good soundtracks. I like the characters. I love the battle system. It reminded me a lot of Xenoblade's, which might sound like I just complained about Xenoblade's battle system, but Pokemon's battle system was probably even worse. I mean, you literally just didn't really do anything besides pick a move, let them do the move. Very classic RPG. So I was glad to see like a new enhanced way of fighting. I love the Mega Evolution battles. I thought those were like little boss battles. Loved them. How they actually incorporated you having to move your trainer around and dodge and roll and run and pull your Pokemon back and call them out at the right time. I liked ZA. I don't think it was as... I played a little bit of Arceus. I never completed Arceus, but I think I liked Arceus more. I don't know why I finished this game and not Arceus, so I don't know. I don't like the city being the only kind of main area of the game. The little tiny bit of parks that are wild areas was just not hitting for me. I got very tired of the city very quick. But yeah, I don't know. Pokemon Legends was fine. You know, I don't think it was anything super special or anything like that. I don't let the graphics and anything bother me. I know the graphics were iffy, but it was fine. I think that's all I can really say is just fine. 7 out of 10. Battlefield 6. I don't know where I think this one I got talked into by the public. So everybody was like on TikTok. If you've been on TikTok or anything, saying like, "Oh, this is going to be the new COD for us this year." Like, we're not buying COD. We're taking a stand to the company. We're not buying COD. Guess what I bought this year? I bought COD. But no, I bought Battlefield 6 too. But yeah, everybody's like, we're taking a stand. You know, we're not buying COD. And I was like, with it. You know, I was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's do Battlefield. I've never played Battlefield, but I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Hold on, I'm putting COD on my list here, so I forgot about that game. Like, yeah, let's do it. And I jumped in with my friend, and we played a couple games, man, and I got so bored. This is not for me. I think the Battlefield games, there's definitely there's a group of people that it's for. It's not my thing. I don't like the giant battlefield. It just doesn't feel like anything's really happening. Like, am I really contributing to anything? Like, I don't know. It's not as rewarding as like a battle royale, or, you know, maybe I'm brain rotted, but like I'm just a big battle royale person, or like a search and destroy person. So like any type of respawn game mode or something like this just wasn't interesting to me. On the contrary, I love Battlefront. The Star Wars Battlefront games are amazing. I love Battlefront 2. I put in a lot of time into that game, even the original Battlefront. So maybe it's just because it's Star Wars coded, but you also get like very special characters that do special things, like special clone troopers, special droids, and even Jedi and Sith, and you know, I really like that. I really hope I really do hope there's going to be a Battlefront 3 with like the Mandalorian, maybe some Clone Wars characters and stuff. Some of the newer characters from the newer movies and stuff, which might not sit well with a lot of people. But yeah, that's just, I would love that. Or Mandalorian and Grogu, it could be so cool. But yeah, or Bo-Katan even. I could think of a lot. Like, I could literally sit and list so many characters they could put in a new Star Wars Battlefront. So hopefully that happens. Maybe even like the Rebels, throw Ezra in there. So. But yeah, Battlefield 6. I didn't even give it a rating. I don't know. I played so little of it. It just wasn't for me, and I just don't think it's going to ever be for me. It's just not my thing. But then October, Nintendo surprised us with a Luigi's Mansion, a GameCube Shadow Drop, and of course I had to play it. Luigi's Mansion 1 is one of my favorite Nintendo games ever. I had to play it. It's just the perfect vibes, the spooky season time, and just playing Luigi's Mansion. I've played through this game, no joke, at least 35 times. It's just like, I love it every time. It never gets old. Luigi's Mansion is my baby. I still think Luigi's Mansion 3 is better, but one is up there. We don't talk about 2. I do not like 2. Even replaying it on the Switch, I do not like 2. I'm sorry. But then we get towards the end of the year here. We move on to the month of November. I played Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. That obviously took me away from it took me away from, what was it? Definitive Edition. This game was fine. It was good. I gave it a 7 out of 10. I actually liked the story here. It was canon, even though we knew it was going to happen. I liked seeing the cast of characters and what Zelda went through, and I think it makes Tears of the Kingdom more significant. Instead of, you know, it being this branching story that doesn't matter, like in Breath of the Wild. Or not Breath of the Wild, Age of Calamity is what I'm saying. But Age of Imprisonment was fine. I think the characters and the combat were better in Age of Calamity. I felt like the mechanics of the characters were cooler. They had more unique purposes. Like, I liked how Sidon had like a rhythmic thing to him where you had to hit all your moves in rhythmic time. And there's some Gerudo that do that in Age of Imprisonment, but it just felt like they were trying to do what they were doing in Calamity, but it just didn't hit. Age of Calamity, some of the Rito had like a flying moveset and a ground moveset like Rivali did. I mean, we could go through each of the characters. They had some really unique gimmick to them, and I didn't feel that in Age of Imprisonment. Lots of the characters felt like roster pad, you know, padding the roster with just these random NPCs from these different factions around Hyrule. They weren't even part of the main story. They didn't have really super cool movesets. I don't know. I wasn't really feeling it. It also feels like it's kind of lacking content. There's no like extra secret collectibles. There's no secret character unlocks, which is so weird. We already got 2 free updates and none of them added characters. You You can't play as Sonya. I know she dies, but so does Raru at the end of the story, but you can still play with him afterwards. I mean, when has that ever stopped us from ever having, playable? It's a Hyrule Warriors game. Who cares? Let us play with Sonya. There was just no secret characters, no surprise characters. You couldn't even play as Ganon or Ganondorf. It was like, what? Or maybe his two Gerudo warriors that we thought were Komune and Kotake or something. Komune, Kotake, whatever their names are. I can't pronounce it. I don't remember. Ocarina of Time girls, Twin Rova. It was weird. It just felt like it lacked content. It was kind of rushed, it felt like. There was no secret unlockables. There's no 100% completion reward. Very strange. Very strange. And also, the whole crafting thing and the map was just a little confusing this time around compared to Age of Calamity. I don't know, but I just felt like it was one of those things that just like, as a diehard Zelda fan that will play every spinoff, it didn't even really strike a lot with me. So I'm sure casual fans really don't care about that game at all. Kirby Air Riders came out. I think it was around the same as Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. In fact, I might say it may even be a little bit better. I'd give it like an 8.3, 8.4. I wouldn't quite go at 8.5. I know I'm weird with that. But Kirby Air Riders is pretty cool. You know what? Screw it. I'm going to say 8.5. Kirby Air Riders is really good. I've been playing nonstop. There's so much reason to keep playing, from the giant checklist of all the modes that you can, check off. And I'm just about 100% done with the game. There's a couple of missions. I'd say overall there's like 5 missions per 3 of the modes. So about 15 missions left. And then I pretty much 100% it, which is awesome. But I love the racing in this game. City Trial is still a lot of fun. I've been playing so much of it. It gets stale after a while, but it's a lot of fun. I think this game really calls me back more because there's a dedicated ranking mode. So the fact that every mode has a ranking system that I can really grind in and try to do better at, give me a reason to play online, unlike Mario Kart World. That's another thing. Sonic Racing Cross World has a ranking mode that you can try to get better with, so it gives you reason to play online. And also from having time trials with every map, with every vehicle as well, having an individual time trial stat, which is really cool. Sakurai just poured out his heart and soul into this game. So many customizable options, things you can do, machines you can customize and buy. Just really snapped with the whole, the game in general. My only real complaint is the story mode's kind of repetitive and boring. I wish there were more bosses. It's kind of strange that he kind of made it seem like there's going to be a lot more bosses, but he showed us everything that we're going to be fighting outside the final boss. I wish there were more bosses coming back. Like, they could have thrown us like a Void Termina boss, or maybe even like a Fecto Elfless boss, Fecto Forgo boss, something along those lines, but they didn't do anything like that, which was kind of a bummer. Or maybe like a Star Dream boss from Robobot, something along those lines would have been cool. Like a Haltman boss, I don't know. But 8.5 out of 10, really good racing game. That leaves Mario Kart World, unfortunately, as my least favorite racing game. We're not counting Garfield Kart 2. But Mario Kart World, yeah, unfortunately, was probably my least favorite racing game, with Kirby Air Riders being my favorite this year, which was kind of what I was predicting it would be. But Kirby Air Riders had like a crazy roller coaster for me. I was super high before it came out. I played the demo, I was super low. The game came out, I was high again. I played a little bit longer, I got a little bit lower. But as I kept playing, I was like, this is still a really good game. I kind of evened out around the 8.5. I still think 8 would probably be most likely. You know what? I'm so all over the place. I'm going to give Kirby Air Riders an 8 out of 10. And I'm going to give Sonic Racing Cross Worlds a 7.5 out of 10. I don't think it was quite an 8 for me. So that's what I'm going to do. So I did Mario Kart World 7, Sonic Racing Cross Worlds a 7.5, and Kirby Air Riders an 8. I think is pretty perfect. But it could go to an 8.5. I don't know. On a good day, I guess. I've also been trying to replay Super Smash Bros. Brawl's Subspace Emissary with my best friend. We've been going through it. Something that he wanted to go through again. I was like, yeah, we got to do that again. We were about halfway through it. It's just an awesome story mode. I really pray that it returns in the next Smash Bros. Just having all the characters interact with this goofy story and this cool platform section fighting enemies and bosses from the Nintendo franchises, and seeing all these characters interact with each other is just a really special thing. We love Subspace. We grew up with Subspace together, so we try to make it a thing to replay it often. So we've been playing through that. Metroid Prime 3 Corruption. I had to hurry up and rush this out before December came with Metroid Prime 4. Going back to that game, I love Corruption. Corruption is definitely my favorite of the trilogy, and then 1 and then 2. It might be more linear, but it still feels like a Metroid game. It has some really fun bosses. I love the motion controls. I love how it doesn't just completely throw you in a world and get you lost. It's pretty not hold your hand, but it lets you know where you're supposed to go without being, you know, hand-holdy. I liked it. I like Corruption a lot. I'm a big fan. I know that's not a heavily popular opinion, but I really love Skytown Elysia. It's one of my favorite worlds in the entire Prime series. Really, really awesome. So like, yeah, it was really fun to revisit that game and complete the trilogy again after playing it back in high school. And then obviously Call of Duty Black Ops 7 came out. I'm not even going to give that a ranking. It's another Call of Duty game. The only reason I ever download those games and play them and buy them is because of my friends. It's like some of my friends, it's like they're one of those guys that like if the game doesn't have a gun or a ball in it, they won't play. So you know, like with some of my friend groups, I'm still to this day, they only will play Fortnite, Call of Duty, you know, that's about it. So, it's kind of frustrating, man. I'm like, can we play something else, please? But something else we play, it should have went back at the beginning of this list in January. We've been playing a lot of Golf with Your Friends. I don't know if you guys have ever tried that game out. It's on Steam. It's a little mini golf game. There's a second one coming out sometime next year. This is an awesome game. It's got creator-made courses, and it's just all these wacky putt-putt courses. We've been playing that nonstop. Like, that's been in the rotation since last year, throughout this entirety of this year. So much fun. A truly awesome experience. I love Golf with Your Friends. It's getting old. We played through so many of the user courses now. We're ready for Golf with Your Friends too, so hopefully that's coming up here soon. But we obviously then can move into December, and we have Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. You guys have probably heard enough. I just posted a video on this channel as well about my opinions with that game. I wasn't too fond of it. I gave it a 7 out of 10. It didn't feel like the original trilogy at all. It's way too linear. It didn't feel like I know the other games aren't technically Metroidvania because you have to get items in a specific order, but this didn't feel anything like what a Metroid Prime game normally feels like. It feels like a lot of the time it's just a walking simulator. I'm walking from point A to point B, doing boring said task of scanning a monitor, pushing a button, talking to NPCs. The boss battles were okay. It had a very open, empty open world. That wasn't even a big complaint to me. I didn't mind the open world, and I didn't mind the NPC characters, but the boss battles were average. The world designs were average. Outside of the first couple hours, the game was really good, and then it just kind of petered off for me. Kind of upset by that one, but it makes sense why Nintendo wasn't advertising this game at all. Like, it truly does make sense now. I was like, dude, why is Nintendo not showing trailers for this thing? Why are they not talking about this thing? Why are we having 2 Sakurai Presents with Kirby, but not a single Nintendo Direct for Prime 4? That's exactly why. The game didn't deserve. I don't even know what they would do for a Nintendo Direct with that game. Honestly, I don't think they had enough content for it. Also, it's an extremely short game that's it's lengthened out by just tedious backtracking and side quests that don't make sense. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like they kind of dropped the ball with that game. And if so far from what I've heard from the different regions of UK and even Japan, I know those aren't the biggest regions for Metroid Prime fans, but they're not selling. It's not selling well there. So hopefully in the States it's selling a lot better. But the States is going to have to carry this game if it's going to, if the Prime series is going to continue. But I don't know. Prime 4 was it was such a letdown for me this year. And then the last game I'm going to end this year with probably is going to be Wario World. I just replayed Wario World. It came out on NSO just like Luigi's Mansion did in October. I love Wario World. I always did. I still have my physical copy on the GameCube. Just an awesome game. I actually think replaying this game, people make it seem like it just wasn't that special and it was just weird and not good. I think Wario World is actually a really good 3D platformer. Really good. I love the collection aspect. It's kind of a fixed camera, almost like Mario 3D World style of 3D platformer. I think it's really, really good. I love the bonus rooms. I love the collectibles. The boss battles are actually pretty good. They're pretty good. They're wacky, weird, and stupid, but it's pretty good, and I think it's good for that reason too. It's some of the better boss battles we've had in a Nintendo 3D platformer, or even 2D platformer for that matter. I'm a big fan of it. It has great music. I think it runs and plays really polished, really well. The controls are great. The camera's great. I don't really have too many complaints with Wario World, honestly. People, I don't even know, what's the verdict with Wario World? Because the way people talk about it online, it's just not a good game. I'm going to go to Metacritic right here in the middle of this video. Let's see if we can find a Wario World reviews. Metacritic. Because yeah, people make it seem like it's a bad game or something like that. Let's see what it's hitting for. Yeah, it got a 71 from reviewers. Fans gave it about an 8 out of 10. This is probably one of the more confusing ones. I think my only complaint with the game, is that it's just way too short. You can beat the game in about 4 to 5 hours, which is just way too short. If they added an additional 2 worlds or something, or more levels in each world, I think it could be better. Like, for instance, some of the if they would have just thrown in a third level, it could have greatly expanded the game, which is weird because all the worlds had like this theming for the boss of the world. It had 2 levels and a boss, and the boss area felt like it could have been a really cool theme. Like, I wonder if they were going to do that and they ran out of time and just made that a boss. For instance, the first world had like this big castle, but you just fight a giant dragon in panties. I'm not kidding. Look it up. It's like a big old lizard in like a bra and panties and a blonde wig. Like, I'm telling you, the developers were on crack with this game. I don't know what they were thinking. But then like the second world had like this kind of outer space. You fought this weird creature on this moon. The third world, I'm trying to remember them all. I'm not going to be able to remember them all. I think the third world was the snow world. And yeah, I'm not going to remember. It may have been like this jungle ruins. It was like this ruins area where you fight these 2 dragons. That could have been a cool world. Then the fourth world, it had like a pirate ship at, a stormy sea pirate ship themed world. That could have been a really cool level design. So I'm really, that could have been 4 new levels they did, but they didn't do it. So that was a little confusing, honestly. But I love revisiting Wario World. It's a great game. I think it's way better than a 71 on Metacritic. Like, these reviewers don't know what they're talking about. And when you look at the time, a lot of the GameCube games were short. So if those are the reviews of it just being short, I don't understand how that's not a good, like, I don't see where else the game is deserving of getting a 71. I hope they give Wario another 3D platformer chance, but odds are we'll probably see a 2D Wario Land game before we'll ever see another 3D Wario Land, Wario World game, which just, it kind of stinks. But who knows? We could be surprised with another 3D Wario game soon. Maybe Nintendo's got something up their sleeves, like they did with Donkey Kong. But obviously, the game of December was going to have to be Metroid Prime. It's the only new game, Metroid Prime 4. But yeah, that leaves us with the game of the year. For me, personally, 9.5 going to Donkey Kong Bonanza, with a close second going to Hollow Knight Silksong and Pac-Man World 2 Repack, both at 9s out of 10. It was a pretty good year. Unfortunately, it wasn't as big or as exciting as I hoped it would be. There's a lot of games to play, but not too many games that stood out to me, especially from Nintendo for this being their first Switch 2 year. The first 6 months, just not a lot. And I'm looking at the next 6 months here to start the next year, and the games that we know of so far, none of them really look like they're going to also fill that bill for me. No Breath of the Wild filling game. Like, Donkey Kong Bonanza was up there, but I still don't think it's quite a Breath of the Wild filling game, a Mario Odyssey filling game, or even like Splatoon 2, which I also thought was up there. Even Mario Rabbids I thought was up there. But Donkey Kong Bonanza was pretty much the game that ran this year for me. And I'm already having like the urge to go back and replay that game. But yeah, that's kind of my big list of 2025. And, normally I don't do this, but what I'll do is I'll show you, or at least I'll tell you, the games that I also want to play. I have a long list of games that I want to play, and I'm just going to like literally just run through them real quick. All right, here we go. Xenoblade 2, Fire Emblem, 3 Houses. I got Engaged, but you guys said play 3 Houses first, so I just got Engaged sitting on the shelf, wrapped up still in its casing. This will be my first Fire Emblem experience, but Runner 2 and 3, I know some of these are going to be weird. The Tourist on Xbox, Shantae, I just put Shantae games. I think I want to go back. After playing Half Genie Hero, I really loved it. I want to go back and play some of the other games as well. Excite Trucks / Bots. I want to get those back. I used to have them. I want to go back and play those again for some reason. Runbow, Tunic, which was an Xbox game, kind of based on like Zelda in a way. Bit Trip Collection on Switch. F-Zero GX. I want to get a physical copy of that game. I like that game a lot. I think I used to have it when I was a kid. Chibi Robo was on my list, but it came out on NSO. I might just play that on NSO, so that's still on the list. Star Fox Adventures, I've never played it. I think it's the only Star Fox game I've never played. I even played through Command. That game's something else. But I want to get Ty the Tasmanian Tiger back. I seen there was a collection on Switch, I believe. That's another game I grew up with. I heard a lot of good things about Bakaru, this Japanese 3D platformer game that came out on Switch, I think, earlier this year. I want to play Unravel, maybe even Unravel 2 with my wife. The Sackboy games, I'm kind of interested in those. I've never played them. I want to jump into Rayman. Never played a Rayman game. Epic Mickey, I want to try that out. Billy Hatcher was a game I played as a kid. I want to get that back. Kenna, Bridge of Spirits, I've heard some good things about that. I want to try that out. Celeste, never played it. I think it's about time I try it. Spyro Reignited Trilogy. I've never played Spyro. I played all the Crash games, but never played Spyro for some reason. So I want to try that out. Nier Automata. Automata. I don't know what I'm saying. Nier Automata. However you pronounce it. I do want to try it. I've heard some good things about it, and I think it's almost time to give that a try. I got Billy Hatcher on here twice. I guess I really want to play Billy Hatcher. Tomb Raider games, never play them. I know there's like a remake coming out and a new game coming out in a couple years, so I want to get started on that. Haste. I don't even know what Haste is. What is Haste? Yeah, I have no clue what Haste. I think it's that game. Oh, okay. It's like the Sonic Speed Simulator type of game where like you're running over hills really fast. I do want to try that out. I think that's on Steam. I want to give that a try. Sly Cooper. I've never played Sly Cooper games. I want to try those out. Never played Kingdom Hearts games. So maybe I will finally play at least the first Kingdom Hearts next year. Star Wars Force Awakens 1 and 2. Those are just some Star Wars games I never played. I played a lot of the other ones. I played both of the Jedi games recently. Obviously, the... what did I just say? The Battlefront games. So I want to try out the Force Awakens games for sure. I have Bakaru on here again. I must have put some of these on here twice. It's actually made by Goodfield, the people that made who made Goodfield? I think it was the Yoshi games, right? Let me see. I actually put it in here for a reason. Yeah, I didn't know Goodfield made this game. But let me see what Goodfield has made. Yeah, the Wario Land Shake It, Kirby's Epic Yarn, We Play Motion, Mario and Luigi Dream Team, the Giant Battles I guess they worked on. I didn't even know that. Yoshi's Woolly World, Miitopia. So yeah, the Yoshi, the cute Yoshi games, even Princess Peach Showtime. So I gotta check out Bakaru and see what that's hitting for. But yeah, I've heard some good things about that. And then Okami. Apparently there's a Okami 2 coming out. I think it was revealed last year at the Game Awards. So like, yeah, it's a game I played a little bit with my uncle when I was little. I kind of want to fully revisit that game. But there's probably even more games that I can add to this list. But those are like the primary games that I want to play right now. There's another one I'm missing. Ratchet and Clank games. Yeah, I want to jump into those as well. I think you can get them all digitally. I don't know if it's on Steam, but I know it's on Xbox. I believe so. Or no, not Xbox, my fault. PS5. But yeah, what a year. Lots of games, lots of old games brought back. That's one of my favorite things to do every year. Just, having the urge to go back and play a game I haven't played in so long. It almost feels like a new game sometimes. That's the good thing about having such a big collection of Nintendo games. Just you can go back to classic games and be like, man, I haven't played this in forever. This is fun. Plus, there's so many new games coming out from so many different companies and stuff. It's awesome. But that is my year of 2025 in review. So going back, like I said, my favorite game was Donkey Kong Bonanza. My least favorite was probably, not including Garfield Kart. I'm not going to count that one. That was more of an ad I did. My least favorite is probably going to be Dragon Drive. Believe it or not, I do not like Dragon Drive. That was just... Whew. There's not too many Nintendo games where I genuinely almost hated. Like, I think Yoshi's New Island is up there. There was another one. I can't think of it right now. But yeah, like, I got to go back and try Yoshi's New Island again because I cannot hate it that much. I got some wild hate for that game in my heart. But yeah. But let me know down below what you thought of the games I played this year. If you got anything to add with any of them, I would love to read all your comments and chat with you down below. Thank you so much for tuning in, and let me know what you're most excited about for next year. I'll probably do a big video where I just kind of dive into what I'm excited about for next year that we know of from Nintendo, what I'm expecting, what I'm hoping for. So yeah, make sure you stay plugged here. Help us reach 3,000 subscribers. We are super close. I'm sure we can do that literally with just this video probably, but thank you guys so much. I hope you all have a blessed day. Walk in the way of the Lord. Be careful out there. I love you guys. See ya.